Hello, gear nerds of the internet. This is a Freya that I've replaced the coupling caps on to see what that would do to the sound. And a lot of people wanted to know what I thought. Well, I'm going to tell you coming up.
Six in the morning.
You know how you can know that a lot of people have interest in a video that you did? You get a text message from your friend who's like, hey, what's going on with that? I'm like, I didn't know you watched my crappy videos. Apparently he does. So Jared, this one's for you. So, when I last left you, I put this thing back together after replacing the WEMA coupling capacitors. Now, WEMA capacitors are not bad by any stretch in terms of capacitors, but there's better out there. And a lot of people had replaced their capacitors with super expensive ones. These are the originals. These are the WEMA MKII 10s. These are like 10 bucks a piece. These aren't inexpensive. These aren't garbage. And what I put in there, I'll have to show you here because they're in there. So I can't show you in here. Unless you have X-ray vision, you can maybe see them already. So I took out these four and I put in the other four, which were Jansen Z caps, Superior Z caps, something like that. And I listened to this, and I listened to it, and I listened to it, and I listened to it to some more. Some people claim that the components within an audio device need to break in, like capacitors and resistors and stuff like that. I don't know if I believe that to be true, but I said I should probably make sure that it's broken in if that's even a thing. So, which is why you haven't had this video sooner. What are my thoughts? Did it improve the sound? So, these are $10. The capacitors I put in here are about 20 bucks a piece. So about double the money of these guys. Did it make an improvement in the sound? I think it did. But is it a night and day difference? I'd say it's more of a night and dusk difference. Now it's hard because you don't have, you can't just pop in the capacitors and listen and then pop the other ones back in. There's a whole lot involved, whole process. It's a whole process just to take this top off. Based on my memory, which is pretty good, and based on me listening to the other two preamps that I have to compare this one to, I believe that it definitely improves the sound. Does it improve the sound $80 plus all the work that you have to do to get into here? I don't know. So let's talk about the difference in the sound that I hear. So I hear more air between the instruments. There's more distance in the sound. It's a little bit wider. One of my complaints about this is that it's not as wide as my other two preamps. And those preamps are the Quicksilver, pictured here, and the Audio Research SP16, pictured there. Those both sound better than this. So my hope was that I would be able to get this to the point of those two. I don't think this gets there. However, when I first bought this, I then sold my Manly Shrimp. And then after doing that, I felt very bad because what I noticed is that I didn't like listening to this. This had an ear-fatiguing sort of sound that I couldn't quite put my finger on originally. I just realized that I stopped liking to listen to music as much as I did when I had the Manly. And replacing those capacitors actually seems to have helped that issue, which is sort of a big deal, but for the price of these, I think there's other options out there that are better than this. Especially if you consider stuff in the, like if you're going to buy the Freya Plus, which is at this point like over $1,000, you can definitely find something better used that's going to sound better than this, and you don't have to replace the capacitors on it to make it sound better. Basically, I feel like the difference in the caps is the difference that you might get from rolling your tubes a little bit. It's not a huge difference. Is it worth it? If you love this and you want to just make it a little bit better, you can do that. But if you don't like this, replacing those 4 coupling caps is not going to get you there, I don't think. If I never compared this to the other 2 preamps, I'd probably be happy with this now. Am I going to keep this? I don't know. I think I might sell this, but I think I'm going to put these back in there, because I don't know that adding $80 worth of caps makes this amp $80 more expensive on the used market. So I might as well put these back in and then maybe use those for a different project. But what do you think? Should I sell it with the caps or with the original caps? Let me know, because I'm kind of torn. I kind of don't want to take this thing apart again. So maybe that's the real question. Am I more cheap than I am lazy, or am I lazy than I am cheap? That'll be the final determining factor of whether or not I bother to replace those with these wheels again. I definitely think that the caps that I put in here that cost $80 for 4 of them, it's a way different scenario than the ones that people are doing on their Plus, because the Plus has less room, so you have less capacitor options. So they're putting in caps that cost $100 a piece. If you're buying a brand new one of these for $1,000 and then putting in $400 more, you can definitely find better preamps out there than this. Unless you absolutely want to have this to match your other shit gear, there's no reason to pay $1,500, $1,600. That's if you're doing the work yourself. If you're paying someone to do this, you're paying $2,000 for this thing. Not this thing, the Plus, which isn't this. I don't think that's worth it. Call me crazy. So, call me crazy down there. I'd love to hear it. I'd also love it if you watch the video that's going to be here. Over here, I'll put the original review I did for this. And then down here, I'll do the review of my audio research preamp. And then here, I will do my Quicksilver review, which I also put new coupling caps in, the same coupling caps. I'm going to do a review of that, which I think is actually a more interesting review because that made a bigger difference than with this. So stay tuned for that. Peace.